Dozens of newly freed women and girls who had been captured by Boko Haram in Nigeria are now showing up at a camp for the displaced outside Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Over 15,000 people, most of them women, have already found shelter at that camp. The majority of these women have been raped, gotten pregnant, and battered by Boko Haram over the past 6 years. More than 200 of them are currently pregnant, and many others have unwanted children of Boko Haram militants. Some of them also have tested positive for HIV. Margaret, the long-term health effects of this abuse is obviously something that we need to start paying attention to, but it seems like the Nigerian government and the international agencies are not doing too much about it. We know that hundreds of women and girls have been abducted by Boko Haram, and they are systematically raped as a way to control and dominate the rural residency areas of the country. Because since they've been pushed military in the bigger urban hotspots and the biggest population areas, now they're running out into the back country and using this technique to perpetrate the jihadist faith. They say that even they're praying before raping these women in order to achieve offsprings that will carry on the jihadist faith. It's very, very upsetting.
You know, you're absolutely right, they're going into those towns, they're killing off the men in those towns, they're kidnapping, we call them women, in some cases they're 11 and 12 years old, yes. And marrying the 12-year-old, as they put it, some psychological warp to justify what they're doing maybe to those women. What I want to know is, where are all of the feminists in the world? You know, this is so horrifying to hear about it, what's happening to these women. You know, I never hear about this. I want to see, you know, women around the world standing up for other women, doing something about this. It's just deplorable. It is hard
to come together as a community. We've done efforts, you know, hashtag bring back our girls, but again, social media activism can only take us so far. The reality is that the government from Nigeria and the international community do have to come down and do a crackdown. But the problem is that the damage is so pervasive that it's going to last for generations. And that's exactly what Boko Haram is trying to do. Once these girls, recently there was a new group of about 40 girls that came into this camp, and they were interviewed. And that's how we started learning a little more in detail of what's going on. And they say horrible stories, like the militants saying that they will marry girls as young as 8 to 9 years old, because they're pure. And what they're trying to do is to create multi-generational damage. So when these families look at these kids, they can't forget where they come from. And eventually that will allow for them to join the cause, to join Boko Haram. Boko Haram, as we know, recently pledged allegiance to ISIS. So this is something that we don't talk enough, like you said, and it's something that is more pervasive and more damaging in the long term than just bombing a city.
Right, and I'm so frankly sick and tired of seeing rape used as a tactic of war. We've seen this time and again in Syria. We saw it in Serbia in the 90s. You know, this idea that you can rape women and children as a tactic of war. You're absolutely right. The consequences of that, they're systemic, they're long enduring. Long after a conflict is over, these women are scarred for life. They have children that they didn't want, that they didn't plan for, that were forced upon them. And it is a way of breeding a new generation of radicals. That's exactly what they're trying to do. And hopefully we can bring some awareness about these women and what they're going through to start seeing changes. I'm with you. I think that it falls on the shoulders of the Nigerian government to do something about this. It's happening on their soil, and they need to be taking care of it.
Hopefully with the new president that is coming into power not too far from this date, things are going to change. He was elected specifically because of the voting in the areas where Boko Haram is more active. So hopefully he has some insight that will allow for this to curve down. We want to know if you're as offended as we are for this situation, and write your comments down, and please subscribe to the Lib TV too.